Hello, and welcome back to Spoken Sleep. I'm Chuku, and tonight I want to take you somewhere I don't think you've been before. It begins in an ordinary lift, in an ordinary block of flats, at the end of an ordinary day, and from there, somewhere quietly impossible. If you enjoy this one, let me know in the comments where you'd like to go next. And let me know where you're listening from too. I love knowing. You will not remember walking home tonight. You will remember leaving work. You will remember standing up too early at your stop because the man next to you was on a loud phone call, and you'd rather walk home in the rain than spend another minute next to him. You will remember the rain, but the walk itself, the actual, ordinary 10-minute walk from the bus stop to your front door, you will not remember. Some walks are like that. The body knows the way. The mind goes somewhere else. The walk happens without you having to be present for it. And so, somehow, without quite realizing it, you arrive home. Your apartment block, the small entrance, with its slightly tired potted plant that nobody is in charge of. And somehow everyone is. The intercom panel, with the buzzer for 7B that hasn't worked since you moved in. The doormat that says, "Welcome," in a font that looks slightly tired of saying it. You let yourself in. The hallway is quiet. A faint hum from the strip of light above the post boxes. The usual low buzz of an old building, settling in for the evening. Someone's television 3 doors down, just barely audible through a wall. You press the button for the lift. You hear it, far above you. Decide to come down. The familiar wheeze, the soft clunk of the mechanism, the slow descending whir of cables that have been doing this for decades and have no plans to stop. And while you wait, somebody else comes in. You hear the front door open behind you. The damp sound of a coat hood being shaken out. Footsteps on the floor. The small private sigh of a person who has also had quite the day. You don't need to turn around to know who it is. It is the person from your floor. The one whose name you may or may not know. You think it might be Sam. It might also be Sasha. There's also a small but lingering chance it is Stephanie. You have nodded at this person in this lift more times than you have nodded at most of your actual friends. You know the sound of their shoes in the corridor outside your front door. You know they get a lot of parcels. You have never once had a conversation with them that lasted longer than 7 words. And at this point in your tenancy, it has gone slightly too far for either of you to start one. They come up behind you. They nod. The lift arrives. The doors open. You both step in. The inside of the lift is exactly as you left it this morning. The slightly scuffed mirror at the back, in which you both look slightly more tired than you'd like to. The small laminated sign about not exceeding 8 persons, or 630 kg, which you have never once seen tested. The patch of carpet by the door that's been pulling away from the wall for about 4 years. A faint smell of whatever the council uses to clean the floors. Something between lemon and disappointment. You press 7. They are also on floor 7. They have been on floor 7 for as long as you have. This is one of the small daily certainties of your life. The doors close. The lift sighs and starts to rise. You glance at the panel out of habit, watching the numbers tick up. 1, 2, 3, 4. And there you stop. You look again. There is a button you have not seen before. It is right at the bottom of the panel, below the G, tucked just under the row, slightly off to the side, slightly smaller than the others. A small circular button with a faint engraving on it. A moon. A small crescent moon, just visible in the slightly worn brass. You blink at it. You have taken this lift every day for how long now? 3 years? 4? You have stared at this very panel while you waited for the doors to close. You have stared at it while you took it up. You have stared at it while you took it down. There is no patch of this small enclosed space that your eyes have not already memorized. Yet, you have never seen this button before. Very slowly, without moving your head, you look across at the person next to you. You want to know, have they seen it? Are they staring at it too? Is there some shared small bewilderment about to pass between you? The kind that strangers occasionally allow themselves when something genuinely strange has happened. Is this finally the moment you and Sam or Sasha or Stephanie become the friends you should have become 4 years ago? But they're looking at their phone. Both phones, AirPods in. They are deep in something with a vertical scroll. Their thumb does the small flick that means next. Then again. Then again. They have not looked at the panel. They have not looked at the moon. They have not even looked at you. They have not looked at anything that is not the small bright rectangle in their hand. You glance back at the panel. The moon is still there. You look at them again, still scrolling. You think, am I imagining this? I am tired. I haven't slept properly all week. There is a button on this panel that doesn't exist. And there is also a person standing next to me who, if asked, would categorically confirm that there is no such button. So, I am imagining this, right? You take a small breath. You wait for the panel to be normal again. It is not normal again. The moon button is still there. It is still soft and brassy and small. It is still tucked under the row, not insisting on itself, simply present. The lift dings. Floor 7. Your floor. Both of your floors. The door opens. Sam or Sasha or Stephanie steps out without looking up. The small flick of the thumb, the corridor, the walk to their door. They turn left, the way they always turn left. And just like that, they are gone. You do not move. You stand there, in the open doorway, looking back at the panel, at the moon button. The doors hover for their usual few seconds, and then quietly slide closed again, because you did not get out. The lift waits. It hasn't been told what to do. You are now alone, properly alone, inside a small lift, inside a small apartment building, on an ordinary Tuesday, at the end of a very ordinary day. There is a moon button on the panel that nobody else can see. You look at it. It is doing nothing. It is not glowing. It is not flashing. It is not making any case for itself. It is simply a button you have never seen before, on a panel you definitely know inside out. You think, I am tired. I should go inside. There's a kettle, there's a sofa. There's a small, reliable evening ahead of me. You think, what if it's nothing? What if it does nothing? Then I've just stood in a lift for 10 seconds being silly. You think, but what if it is something? And what if it's only here tonight? There is a pause, the kind that lasts longer than its actual length. And then, with the small steady hand of a person who has chosen, you reach out and you press the moon. The lift hums, but it does not move up. It does not move down. It moves sideways, very gently, very slowly, almost imperceptibly. A soft, slow drift in a direction that lifts are not meant to drift in, with no shudder, no resistance, no sense that anything is being lifted or carried at all. It is the smoothest movement the lift has ever made, as if it's glad to finally be doing the thing it was always actually for. You do not reach out to steady yourself. There is no need. You just stand there, very still, breathing slightly more carefully than you were a moment ago. The lift drifts sideways for what feels like a while, half a minute, maybe longer. Time has gone a little strange. Then it stops. It begins to descend. Slow, steady, down. Down for longer than your block of flats has floors to descend through. Down past where the basement should be. Down past where the foundation should be. You stand in the middle of the lift, watching the small moon button glow very softly in the dark. Outside, through the small reinforced glass panel in the door, there is no shaft anymore. There is rock. Smooth pale stone, moving slowly past, as if you are not in a lift in a building anymore, as if you are in something descending through the inside of the earth itself. The lift slows, then it stops. The doors do not open straight away. They wait a moment, as if checking that you are ready. And then they open. The first thing you hear is water. Not running water. Not a tap or a pipe or a drain. Falling water. Far off and constant. A long, slow, steady rushing that has been doing what it's doing for a very long time and has zero plans to stop. It is not loud. It's held, as if the sound itself is being kept at a respectable distance by whatever is between you and it. The second thing you notice is the air. It is cool, not cold. The clean, settled cool of a place that doesn't change the weather outside. There is a faint smell of stone. That particular damp mineral smell that old places have. The smell of rock that has been thinking quietly for thousands of years. And under it, threaded through it, somewhere, the smell of paper. The warm, dry, honeyed smell of old books. The smell that has no business being where you are, and yet somehow, undeniably is. The third thing you notice is the light. It is warmer than lift light, older than lift light. The kind of light that comes from many small steady sources rather than one big one. You step out of the lift and you find yourself in a small antechamber carved out of pale grey stone. Not roughly carved, but carefully. The walls are smooth, almost polished, the way old churches are smooth, where centuries of hands have run along them. The floor is flagstone, worn at the edges. The ceiling arches gently overhead. There are 2 brass lanterns set into the walls, on either side of the lift doors, burning with a low, warm flame that doesn't flicker quite the way fire flickers. It is small, welcoming, the size of a porch on someone's house. There is even, against one wall, a small wooden bench, polished, worn, clearly used. as if people occasionally sit here for a moment before going further in. There is a single doorway on the wall opposite the lift. An open archway. No door. Just an opening. And beyond that, more lamplight. And the sound of water somewhere further still. You are aware that you should be more frightened than you are. You are aware that any reasonable person, having pressed an impossible button in an everyday lift and arrived in a stone room somewhere inside the earth, ought to be experiencing something at least adjacent to alarm. You are not. You feel instead the soft, slow sense of having arrived somewhere you didn't know you were going, but absolutely needed to. You let your shoulders drop a little. You give your body some deep inhales and exhales. You walk towards the arch. You step through, and you have to stop, just for a moment, because the room you have stepped into is too large for your eyes to take in all at once. It is a cavern, but not a cavern the way caverns usually go. Not damp, not jagged, not full of unseen scuttling things. This is a cavern that has been made comfortable, hospitable. It is enormous. The ceiling rises somewhere far above, in a great vaulted curve of pale stone, lit by 100 small brass lanterns that hang on long chains from up in the dark. The lanterns are spaced unevenly in a way that looks accidental, but probably isn't. And the light from them gathers in soft pools across everything beneath. And beneath them, books. Walls of books, built into the cavern walls themselves, where the rock has been carved away into shelves. Tall shelves, short shelves, deep shelves, alcoves carved into the curves to fit smaller collections. Wooden ladders on brass rails set against the taller stretchers. Reading tables down the center of the room, long and dark and softly polished. Each one with a green shaded reading lamp, already lit. Leather armchairs in the corners. Small wheeled trolleys of books left where someone, recently or a long time ago, had been doing some sort of quiet, ongoing work. The lanterns glow. The lamps glow. The room is warm and gold and absolutely silent, except for that one far-off sound. The water, which seems to be coming from somewhere behind the far end of the cavern. Somewhere you can't see yet. You stand in the doorway and you let yourself just look. There is nobody here. Not at the desks. Not at the tables. Not on the ladders. Not in the armchairs. not anywhere. The library is entirely yours. And yet somebody is clearly looking after it. A small lamp is lit on the librarian's desk near the entrance, and there is a fresh cup of tea on it, faintly steaming, as if whoever was sitting here has only just stepped away. A book lies open beside the tea. A pair of half-moon reading glasses rests on an open page. A pencil. A small handwritten note that says, in neat looping ink, "Back shortly," with no indication of who back belongs to, or when shortly might be. You don't pick anything up. You don't read the open page. It would feel like reading someone's diary. You walk on. The aisles between the shelves are wide, wider than a normal library. The kind of wide that says, "Hey, take your time. There is no hurry. This place was not built to rush you through." The floor underfoot is flagstone. In the center, an old rug in places, long faded Persian rugs in deep reds and dark blues. The kind that have been here so long, they've stopped being for show and become part of the room. You wander. You don't have a direction. You don't have a plan. You let the cavern decide where you go. You pass alcoves you didn't see at first. A small reading nook tucked behind a curve of stone, with two leather chairs facing each other, and a low table between them. A spiral staircase rising up into the dark. A mezzanine somewhere overhead, presumably with its own shelves. That maybe you'll get to, or maybe you won't. A small fireplace, unlit with a tidy stack of logs beside it. A globe on a stand, old. The kind where some of the countries don't exist anymore, and some haven't been finished yet. You touch nothing. You only look. The sound of water is getting closer. You hadn't quite been walking toward it, but the cavern seems to be slowly drawing you that way, in the unhurried way places do when they have things they would like you to see. You follow the long central aisle of the library, deeper in. The shelves rise on either side of you. The lamps overhead grow a little dimmer here. Or perhaps the cavern just grows wider. The light spread thinner across the bigger space. The flagstone underfoot turns gradually to smooth, worn rock. The rug ends. And then the shelves end too. And you find yourself standing at the back of the library, in a space the size of a small concert hall, looking at something you do not have the right words for yet. The back wall of the cavern is not a wall. It's water. A great wide sheet of falling water, tumbling from somewhere high above and disappearing into the dark pool at the foot of it. The waterfall is the entire rear of the cavern. And the sound of it, now you are close, is everywhere. Not loud, vast, the way the sea is vast. The kind of sound that you do not so much hear as inhabit. There is a small stone walkway leading along the edge of the pool. It curves toward the waterfall and ends at a flat, dry ledge, a kind of small balcony of pale stone that juts out under the curtain of falling water. You can see, through the water, that there is something on the other side. You can see just light. You walk towards the ledge. You walk slowly along the stone walkway. The pool to your right is deep and dark, and as still as held breath, despite the great curtain of water tumbling into it. The walkway is dry. Whoever built it knew exactly where the spray ended and where the dry stone begun, and built it a half step further out, the way good builders do. The water falls beside you now, not a wall of mist, the way you might expect. A wall of clarity, so clean and so unbroken that you can almost see your hand on the other side of it. Almost. Not quite. The water has a shimmer to it, a light moving through it from somewhere beyond. You reach the ledge, a small flat shelf of pale stone, just wide enough for one person to stand on comfortably. Worn smooth in the center, where many other people presumably have stood here before you. The waterfall is directly in front of you now, heavy, steady and silver. The sound of it is somehow softer this close, as if the fall itself is leaning slightly away from the ledge, making room. You step forward. You stand on the ledge. You look through the water, and you have to put a hand on the wet stone to steady yourself, because the world is opened up. You are not underground. You are not inside anything. You are high up, through the soft moving shimmer of the waterfall, through it, as if through a slightly fogged window. There is night, real night, enormous night, a wide black sky, dense with stars, and beneath the stars, very far below, the slow blue silver folding of a valley. Mountains rise on either side of it, their peaks pale with snow, their flanks falling away into deeper darkness. A river, somewhere down there, catching the moonlight in a thin, long gleam. The shapes of trees on the lower slope, a single small light, somewhere very far off, a window perhaps, in a house that should not exist this high up, winking softly. You are inside a mountain, near the top of one, and the library is hidden behind the waterfall, looking out over a world you did not know was there. You stand on the ledge for what feels like a long time. The cold of the night air comes through the curtain of water as a soft, thin draft against your face. You can smell it. Stone and snow, and pine and something else. Something colder. Still, the smell of altitude, of thinned air, of a place that is up. You do not step through. The ledge is the ledge. Beyond the water is not for you tonight. The library is. But to know it is there, to see it, is enough. Maybe more than enough. The world goes on. The river keeps catching the moon. The far-off light keeps winking. The mountains keep their long old watch over the valley. None of it minds being looked at. After a while, you do not know how long, and you do not check. You turn back. The library is waiting for you the way it was waiting for you when you arrived. The lamp still glowing. The lanterns still hanging in their soft pools of light. The sound of the waterfall falling a little softer now behind you as you walk away from it. You walk back along the central aisle, and it is only now on the way back, with the great quiet of the vista still settling somewhere inside you, that you notice the spines. You see you hadn't on the way in. You were taking them as books, in a great library, and that had been enough. You would let your eyes pass over them, the way eyes pass over all books in the libraries, registering book, 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 without really seeing. But now you see. Every spine has a name on it, not a title, not an author, a name, a person's name, in neat gold pressed letters down the length of each spine. Margaret Ann Whittle, Joseph Henry O'Connell, Olua Adesanya, Robert Brian Chang. You stop. You take one down at random. A thick green leather volume, well kept, no dust. You open it just enough to glance at the first page. Before your eyes can settle, you feel something. A faint pull. A small soft tilt of the room. And you close the book very quickly. Alarmed without quite knowing why. You slide it back onto the shelf. You understand suddenly what these books are. You walk along the shelves. You are looking now. You are looking properly. Your eyes track the spines as you pass. Names. Names you have never heard. Names you might recognize from somewhere if you stop long enough. Names in languages you can and cannot read. Whole alphabets you do not know. All in long, quiet rows. A library of lives. Every person who ever was. Every person who is. Possibly, though you do not test this, because you do not want the answer. Every person who will be. And somewhere, almost certainly, you. You walk slowly. You are not in a hurry. The library is enormous and patient, and not going anywhere. You let your eye drift along the spines. You don't know which letter to look under. You think, surname, first, both. You don't know. You decide to trust the library to know where to put you. And it does. After a turn or two, you come to a shelf that is, you know it, somehow yours. You stop in front of it. You scan the names. And there, your name, in neat gold letters, pressed into a worn leather spine. Just your name, not a date, not a title, not anything else. Just you, on the side of a book, in a library inside of a mountain, behind a waterfall, in a place that absolutely should not exist. You stand there for a moment. You feel something rise quietly behind your ribs. You reach up. You take the book down. You carry it carefully to one of the reading tables. The green shaded lamp is already on. The chair is already pulled out. Of course it is. The library has been ready for you. You sit. You set the book down on the table. You let your hands rest on the cover for a second before you open it. The leather is warm. Worn. Not new. Held by somebody over the years. The cover does not have a title. Just your name. Pressed in faded gold into the front. You open it. The library is gone. The lamp is gone. The chair is gone. The table is gone. The waterfall and the cavern and the long quiet rows of names are all suddenly somewhere else, or somewhere not. And you are sitting on a kitchen floor. The lino is cool against your legs. There is a bowl in front of you. There is something in the bowl that you have decided is the most interesting thing in the world. The sun is coming through a window somewhere. Late afternoon sun. The gold kind. The kind that makes everything look like a memory before it's even finished happening. You are 3, maybe 4. You can feel how small you are. You can feel the wide, flat warmth of a floor underneath you. The way floors used to feel when you were closer to them. There is somebody at the kitchen counter behind you. You don't turn to look. You don't need to. You know they are there. You know they love you. You can feel it in the way the room is held. The warm, patient attention of an adult who is doing one thing while quietly watching you do another. You stay on the floor. The sun stays in the window. The bowl stays in front of you, full of something you will not remember tomorrow and have never forgotten since. You let it be a little longer. And then, gently, somehow, you are turning the page. The kitchen is gone. You are outside. Summer. That long, slow, blue evening you only ever get in childhood. The one that doesn't ever quite happen the same way again once you grow up. You are older now. Old enough to have run somewhere on purpose. You are running. The grass is dry under your feet. The light is honey across everything. You are laughing. Laughing the way only a child can laugh. The way that involves your whole body. The way that has no edge to it at all. You don't know who you are with. You can hear other voices laughing too. Somewhere just out of sight. You don't need to see them. They are yours. You don't know what was so funny. You don't remember the day. You don't remember the year. But your body remembers. Your body is laughing. Your body is doing the thing it was built to do before anyone told it to stop. The blue evening goes on. The grass goes on. The laughter goes on. You let it. And then gently, the page turns. You are sitting on a sofa. It is somewhere in the middle of your adult life. You do not know which year. You do not know which flat or which house or which town. You are simply there. Somebody is next to you. They are not facing you. You can't quite see who. But the weight of them on the cushion beside you is somebody who matters, or mattered, or will matter. And the book does not seem to mind which of those is true. There is a cup of tea on the side table. A book lies open between you, though neither of you is reading it. Something has just been said. Something small. Something that has made both of you laugh quietly at the same time. It just sits in the room with you, the two of you, and the cup of tea, and the warmth, and the small good fact of being there. You did not know, at the time, that this was a happy moment. You know now. You sit with the person you cannot quite see. You let the small joke land again. You let the tea go cold. You let it be one of the best moments of your life. The one you did not realize was the one. And then, gently, the page turns one last time. This page does not put you in one place. This page is many of them. layered. A walk you took once. A meal somebody made for you. A morning you woke up before everyone else and watched the light. A car at night, the road empty, the music on. A friend on the phone late. Both of you laughing about something neither of you can remember now. A small, ordinary, unremarkable hour. Looking back, that turned out to have been the whole point. You don't try to hold any of them. You let them flicker. You let them be. You close the book softly, or perhaps it closes itself. The distinction has stopped mattering now. You sit at the table a moment longer, the lamp warm beside you, the leather of the book warm under your hand, the library soft and gold and silent around you, except for the far-off patient sound of the waterfall, doing its work the way it has always done its work. You leave the book on the table. You don't put it back on the shelf. The book is yours. Nobody is going to come and take it. It will be here next time. If there is a next time. The page you stopped on will be still the same page you stopped on. Nothing in this place is in a hurry. You sit back in the chair. You let your eyes close. You can still hear the water. You can still feel the lamp warm beside you. You can still feel the leather of the book under your hands. But the chair has begun to feel softer than the chair should feel. The lamp has begun to feel further away than it was. The waterfall is now the slow sound of breathing. Somewhere very near, very close. Somewhere very much like your own bed. You are not in the library anymore. You are not in the library anymore. You are somewhere in between, the way you always are, just before sleep takes you the rest of the way. The lift is still down there, patient, ready to take you sideways and back up whenever you are ready to leave. The moon button will still be there tomorrow night if you need it. The library will still be there. The book, your book, will still be there. The waterfall will keep the world out for you, the way it always has. Good night.